Why having one or two reliable cash buyers will be the death of your business. That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback, and I want to welcome you to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. If you're looking to make more money wholesaling real estate, whether you're scratching and clawing your way to that first deal, or you're looking to create a seven-figure business that's going to spit off cash month after month after month without your personal day-to-day involvement, then this is your place. If you have not been to our website, I've got a gift for you. Head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. And there you can actually get the same copy of the exact same script that my team uses in our business. And the awesome thing about this is that this is the tool that my team has used to lock up over 1,300 deals. So it's proven, it works. If you've ever wondered what to say or the tonality, or how to, the order of things and decide whether you've got a motivated seller or someone who's wasting your time, then this tool's for you. So head on over there, completely free, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script, and download a copy today. So today's topic was actually inspired by one of my private clients, total rock star. His name is Chris, and he has built his business very successful. It's netting $600,000 or $700,000 a year, small, lean operation. And he told me that he's been noticing that his cash buyers have been paying less and less, right, for his properties. And there's some deals that he thought would just fly off the shelf for his buyers, but all of a sudden it seems like his buyers have been negotiating, let's say, a little harder lately. And, I've talked about this in the past, but if you've got one or two reliable cash buyers, it seems like a blessing, right? When you first start out, you go and find your customers first, right? The cash buyers who will buy your property. And if you're brand new, part of the business model of wholesaling is we go and we find cash buyers, people who will buy our properties for cash. Nice, easy, clean transaction. And then we go find motivated sellers, right? Properties where we want to buy. Someone has a problem and we go into contract to purchase that property, whether to buy it ourselves or now to sell that contract to our cash buyers. So when we find these cash buyers, we're excited. Usually the relationship starts out strong, and the buyer will put their arm around you, whether actually or in theory, and kind of act as a mentor, right? And so we feel good and the trust is built. And we're like, okay, we're going to be in business forever. And that theory sounds nice. But over time, the relationship changes. And as you become more of a sophisticated business owner, you're going to realize that a business founded on friendship is actually one of the worst decisions that you can make. You have to treat your business as a fiduciary. So what do I mean by that? Well, in Chris's scenario, and I can tell you I've experienced this myself, and actually I've experienced as a cash buyer, is the first time you wholesale a deal to a cash buyer, they're going to close, hopefully, they'll close easy, close quickly, and that transaction is going to be awesome, and you guys high five, right? The second time, you will probably become better at negotiating. Hopefully you are, because you bought the no limit selling system. And by the way, if you want to learn how to negotiate bigger spreads on a shorter timeline, get more money out of your leads, increase your ROI, you've got to buy the no limit selling system. So head on over to nolimitsalesystem.com to find out more. But if you are, dealing with that cash buyer, and that cash buyer happens to see what you're making on that second transaction. Let's say the first one you've made 15, and let's say the second one you've done a better job, and now you're going to make $35,000. That cash buyer is going to see that if you assign the deal and you don't do a double close, right? Now, this podcast is not about whether you should do a double or assign this deal, but what it is about is that it's about your relationship to your cash buyers. Second deal, maybe your cash buyer sees that you make $35,000, and in the back of his mind, they are kind of, maybe happy for you, but also thinking, wow, I just left a lot of money on this table, right? And this wholesaler just squeezed a lot of the juice out of this lemon and didn't leave as much for me. Especially if they go and buy that deal, rehab that deal, take the risk, and only make $20,000 or $25,000, and you made $35,000. Let's imagine this happens a third time, right? Now the cash buyer sees this. He knows, or she knows, they are the only game in town because you've brought 3 consecutive deals in a row. This is where the dysfunctionality happens. Okay, this is the moment, the pivot point, where all of a sudden this cash buyer now gets a sense of entitlement that because they're easy, they pay cash, they close quickly, they should get a deeper discount because you're making so much. Now, you may say, well, Todd, this person is my friend, and we've had coffee, and I've had him over, and we had the barbecue, and we were on the boat, and he or she is so nice. Well, I bet they are. Because every time you sell them a property and you are not making them compete, you're giving them an extra $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 basically for free. Now, I'm going to go back to this. I talked to my client. I said, listen, you got to treat your business like a fiduciary. I said, and he comes back and says, well, these guys are my friends and I built a relationship, and that's great, right? But what happens now when you've got 2 or 3 cash buyers and you've got a deal? How do you decide who to give that to, right? Now you have to choose between the 1 or the 2 or the 3. And you're not setting it out to bid, and you're not creating competition. You're like, hey, this is the price. Well, actually, it looks like now you're playing favorites. This actually now becomes an unhealthy relationship. Matter of fact, this used to happen to me. I had 4 or 5 good cash buyers, and I used to sell it to one. Other people used to find out about it and say, how come you didn't send that to me? So ironically, the relationship started to deteriorate even before I started to send out our properties to bid and create massive competition. So I wanted to avoid this, okay? And this is what I told Chris. And I said, first of all, you need at least 20 or 30 hungry cash buyers if you're not going to put these properties on the MLS, okay? You must create competition, and you must create an arena where everybody knows the rules. I've talked a lot about this on how to get the highest and best for your properties, right? And there's other episodes on here on how to do that. But I'm going to talk about the specifics of this, because if you don't do this, these 1 or 2 buyers, they're going to control your business, right? Number one, if they decide that you're making too much, they're going to start lowballing you. If they get resentful or lose money on a deal, frankly, they're going to get more conservative. Right? And you do not want your business relying on 1 or 2 more people, especially if the market is changing. And it is changing right now. Buyers will come in, buyers come out, buyers will get more aggressive if they've made a bunch of money on deals recently. If they've took a bath, right, they've lost money on some deals, they're going to get more conservative. So do not make your business contingent upon the results of others. Now, we want our buyers to win. And we want to give them tools to win. We want to help them to win, but you're not in control of how they operate, right? So we want to communicate the process. We want to create competition. We need to create options. We need to create diversity and backups and redundancy in our business so that if buyers change their mind, or they get hurt on a property, or they go out of business, or they decide to change the business, now all of a sudden your business is not reliant on one. So Chris came to me and says, well, listen, I'm friends with these guys. How do I handle this? And I said, well, right now you're in danger of hurting the relationship if you sell the one and the other, and the rules of engagement aren't clear. I would reset expectations. Number one, I would build your buyers list to at least 15 or 20 serious cash buyers. What I mean by serious cash buyers, people who are buying right now, if you're not selling on the MLS, which I've talked about in the past. Okay. And then I would reset those expectations. Hey, listen, from now on, I'm going to put this out. I'm going to have a suggested starting bid. Okay, and then I want you to come back with your highest and best. And whoever is the highest, who's going to come in with non-refundable earnest money deposit, is going to get the deal. Now, I've talked about this in the past. I said at first they're going to get angry. They're going to be upset. Of course they're upset, right? Because they were getting deals significantly below market. And now they're not going to get that, right? They took you out to lunch. You were on the boat, the barbecue, the wives, all of this. The husbands, they're all getting together. Things are changing. Nobody likes change, but with change comes growth. Okay, so understand that if you feel uncomfortable with this, that is good. Now, I'd approach it with love and respect, right? Make it clear. That is the ultimate respect. So let them know. A couple people may storm off and decide, hey, I'm not going to do business with you. But again, just be kind and clear and let them know the process and just tell them, number one, I've just got to create a little bit more redundancy here. Number two is if something changes in your business, right, I can't be completely reliant on that, just like they are not 100% completely reliant on you. That's very, very important, is that these people are not 100% reliant on you. And if they are, well, they're in trouble. So I would be very, very clear on that. Set the new rules of engagement. You may lose some buyers, and I get that. Try to keep the relationship. But I guarantee you that if you make the rules fair and you talk about it respectfully, not only will your new buyers like that process, but the old buyers, some will come back. Now, just because you change that process doesn't mean that you can't go out to coffee with somebody. Doesn't mean that you can't have a barbecue with them. And frankly, if they don't like the rules and won't still have that relationship with you, well, that's on them and not you, right? If they're only in it because you're going to give them 100% access to your properties at a discount to what you would normally sell it at, this is probably not a relationship that you want to be in. Very, very, very important. Okay. So I'm also going to tell you, right, that in this changing market, you want to also be prepared, not only to sell to cash buyers, but there's another way that you can actually sell your property to retail buyers without closing on the property. And I'm actually going to talk about that in our next episode, which you've got to listen to. I mean, this is huge. So not only should you be able to sell to cash buyers, which I've talked about this, but you got to be prepared to sell to retail buyers direct, which I'm going to talk about in our next episodes. I'm going to blow the doors off on something that we're doing right now in our market. So watch out for that episode. Okay. Very, 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 very important. By the way, one of the other things I told Chris was, let's pretend like you've got a deal in escrow or title and it's closing. Buyer's got the money in and something happens with his business or her business. And all of a sudden they can't close, right? They run out of money. They lose deals. Maybe he's got a lawsuit. Maybe there's a divorce. Something happens and they can't close. And you only have one or two buyers and you need to close in a day or two and you're going to make $40,000. And now your buyer can't close. What, are you going to walk away from the deal? Right? That's irresponsible. So when I say a fiduciary, man, you got to get serious about your business, right? You got to protect it. You got to build a moat around it. You got to make it strong and survivable. You can't have these little single points of failure or else, the thing's going to fall apart, right? There's a verse in the Bible about don't build your house on the sandy land, and don't build it too close to the shore. They say it might look there's a song that I remember when I was a kid. It says it might look very nice, but you'll have to build it twice and you'll have to build your house once more. So going back to that is you got to build your house on a rock. And a rock, okay, for your business is multiple redundancies, right? Multiple cash buyers, multiple forms of marketing, and everywhere you go. So I'm going to go back to Chris. By the way, thank you for being our guinea pig here. And, if you've got one or two cash buyers, maybe it seems awesome, right? I understand that you got into this business, you went and you found your cash buyers first, and now you're going to find the motivated sellers. You're going to put them together. It's easy and it's comfortable. And I get it. And maybe that person put their arm around you and made you feel good about that, and you made $20,000 or $30,000. I can tell you the second or third time you sell a deal to them, and if you're making a lot of money, and if you're listening to this podcast, you probably are, because you've purchased the No Limit Selling System, right? If you haven't, go to nolimitsalesystem.com to find out more, okay? But at some point, this trust with this one or two people, there's going to be some pushback, right? They're going to start negotiating or give you a haircut, or they're going to see the inspection and they're going to come down. And, frankly, they're not obligated to give you the highest price. They have no obligation, nor should they be. right? And so you're going to start to see that they're not going to pay as much as they were before just because of the sense of entitlement. So you must create competition. Always set clear expectations up front, right? If you do this, people will get angry at first because there's going to be some pain involved with the growth, right? Understand that. But if you're clear and respectful and treat them with love, right? They will come back, right? And you're also going to get new cash buyers who are indoctrinated into the new process. And so that's not going to be a problem. There's a ton of podcasts on this show about how to find more cash buyers, okay? Always build a list. Always build a list. Always build a list. Buyer's appetite will change, right? Depending on where they are personally. Remember, what if your buyer does back out at the last minute? You need multiple buyers, right? You've got to be a fiduciary to this thing. And also, watch out. Lastly, I'm going to show you how to sell to retail buyers direct on the next show. You got to listen to it. Going to blow the doors off. If you have not listened to or downloaded the script, go to nolimitrealestateinvesting.com/script to get your free copy of the script. And I will talk to you on the next episode.